Hi, I want to talk about today the Channel Istanbul project, which has been announced by President Erdogan recently, and now a lot of debate started ongoing. So, what is this, what is not this, and how it will affect the domestic politics is not our concern at this moment, but we are more looking at how this new project, if implemented, if executed successfully, might impact the geopolitic arena within the Black Sea and states around the Black Sea. Now, in this program, we are going to talk about this, how the new Istanbul Channel will affect the geopolitics of Turkey and the states around Black Sea. So let's start. Now, Turkey has been following an independent policy, a foreign policy, since it has started to open its wing in the region. We see Turkey now in Syria, Iraq, and now, most likely after the New Year, President Erdogan has called the parliament to discuss about a bill that's related with sending military troops to Libya. And now we see Turkey expanding its wing in the I would say in the Middle East. Now, this new channel that President Erdogan mentioned is not first time being announced or desired by Turkey or Turks. If you go back in the history to Ottoman Empire era, within the you might remember Sultan Süleyman, or as you might remember him, the Magnificent Süleyman. During his era, it has been first designed by his famous architect Mimar Sinan, or architect Sinan, who has also constructed the Süleymaniye Mosque. But due to the unavailability of the funds at that time, also technical difficulties, the project has been postponed. And almost after following his destiny, all those Ottoman Empire sultans wanted to execute this project. The main aim of that project at that moment is to bring the routes that might be necessary to construct a navy in the Black Sea, or in the time of war when the navy is especially being damaged and the warships are sunk, they are going to brand or manufacture a new one, construct a new one. That was the main purpose of this, I will say, new channel. And after all those years or hundreds of years, now Turkey is suggesting that Turkey is going to do this channel. So now, at first, we need to repeat what Turkey is mentioning. Turkey is mentioning that the Bosphorus, now the channel that has been naturally occurred, has risks of transportations, especially due to the oil tankers. Now, every year, the Bosphorus, through the Bosphorus channel, 55 or 56,000 vessels are crossing. And out of these numbers, 10,000 around is oil tankers. They are carrying last year 145 million tons of oil. That's a huge number, especially if you maybe you have been in Istanbul before, but if you don't know it, wherever the channel ends, the city starts, the building rise, the people lives. So it's a really great, I will say, risks, of course, for the people. But then we have to remember the specifications or the details of the Bosphorus. The narrowest part of the Istanbul Bosphorus, I mean the Bosphorus, is 698 meters, and the widest part is a little bit more than 3 kilometers. The new channel is going to be around 40-45 kilometers in length, and its width will be 150 meters. It's like 500 feet on the surface, and 120 meters or around 400 feet at the channel bed. So these, of course, these dimensions will allow the largest vessels to cross, and of course the oil tankers might also use this channel. But there are a lot of things that we should also talk about. First of all, the feasibility of this channel. Is it really feasible or not? To some calculations, it might cost around 10 billion or a little bit more than 10 billion, 11 or 12 million, only to construct this channel. But this is not the whole development. They are going to, or Turkey is going to build a whole city around this channel, where a couple of million people is going to live. This means accommodations, universities, hospitals, state buildings, private companies, businesses, facilities for sanitary, electric, water, again, roads will be constructed. So whenever you think all these developments, in order to accommodate a couple of millions of people, this number becomes a couple of billions dollars immediately. So that's a huge, but a huge development, and of course it cannot be done in a couple of years, but it can be done only in decades. So that's why, considering the economy of Turkey, some scholars or people or politicians discuss whether it's feasible or not. That's another thing. Is it necessary or not? That's another thing at this moment. The commercial ships and the warships under the Montreux Convention, which is signed on 1936, Montreux, have put or set out several rules for the countries. The countries which have a shore to Black Sea and the countries which do not have shore to Black Sea. First of all, it allows all the commercial vessels to use the Bosphorus and the Dardanelles, of course, during the peacetime, which means that if Turkey is not involved in a war, it can be used by all the countries with no restrictions. The restriction comes especially to the states which have no shore to the Black Sea. It suggests if, let's say, France, who has no shore to the Black Sea, wants to send a navy vessel to Black Sea for a kind of a drill, a NATO drill, it cannot exceed 15,000 tons, and it cannot stay more than 3 weeks. So that's a huge limitation, especially for some global countries or states, powers like United States, which have all the control everywhere in the world, from China Sea, from Pacific, everywhere, but doesn't have any control in Black Sea. They cannot even exist. So at this moment, it is unclear what Turkey really wants to achieve there, because the specs that I have already mentioned also some time ago suggest that Turkey says the Bosphorus is too dangerous for all these vessels to use the channel in the Bosphorus. But this new channel is going to be only 120 meters on the channel bed and 150 meters as a width. It's like going to be like that, and where the deepest, which is 25 meters, it will be supposed to be in depth, it's going to be 120 meters. So in 60 and 60 meters, it will allow all the ships to use it. So if the ship length is like 10 meters or 15, 12, 13 meters, like oil tankers, it might easily allow all these ships to use the vessel. But the question doesn't come in that regard. The real question is, what about the warships? Because it's a new channel, artificially it will be occurred, constructed. What will be the status of the warships? Now, it's unclear how Turkey really wants to set out the rules. In our perceptions, Turkey is going to call all the states which have neighborhood to Black Sea and the global powers to a convention where they are going to not only discuss the new rules for the new channel, but also which Turkey is going to seek some kind of ease in the Montreux Convention too, or which is going to let Turkey to increase its authority on the Montreux Convention too. But it creates a great concern to a country, especially to Russia. Why? Because even though this new channel, we do not know what kind of regulations will be established there, it's already a threat to Russia, because Turkey can use this channel to cross, or to let the other navies to cross the new channel and to go into the Black Sea without any kind of restrictions, which Russia will consider this as a national security threat to its own interests, especially to security. That's why, and we should also remember one more issue, it's about the Libya. The 6th of or the 8th of January, the Turkish parliament is going to come together. They are going to open the session with the Libyan bill, where it's going to enable the Turkish military army to deploy the military troops to Libya in order to support the national accord government over there. Why? Because the lately signed agreement allows the Turkey to ensure the EEZ, the economic exclusive zones between Libya and Turkey, which also somehow terminates the deal that has been signed between Greece, Cyprus, Egypt, Lebanon, Israel, and all others. Because there is now a great game in that section. Why it's important? Because the Mediterranean, also especially the East Mediterranean, have great opportunity for oil and gas reserves, where Turkey and Greece and others, like Israel and Egypt, wants to put Turkey out of the game. But the lately signed agreement between the accord government of Libya and Turkey somehow ensures that Turkey is going to be in the region, and whatever it is going to be the case, Turkey is going to use, if necessary, the navy to protect its own interest. And let me remind you again, Turkey has sent this new, I will say, agreement between Libya and Turkey to UN in order to be officially verified. At least this is a step that has been said and taken already. So, but even the deployment of the military troops, including the Black Sea, why? Because of the new Istanbul Channel, is going to deter the relations between Turkey and Russia. It's imminent that maybe it has already effect, because Russia, we believe that, already raised the eyebrows up. Because the regulations and status of new channel is unclear. Turkey will do everything to guarantee that the Montreux Convention's regulations will be eased on the behalf of Turkey, wherever the new channel will enable Turkey to let all the navy that he or Turkey requires in times of, I will say, security, like war, let's say, to use that channel to protect the Turkish borders. That's why it's important for Turkey not to enhance its voice and say we can do whatever you want, whenever you want, but Turkey will do this quietly, but they will use it, they will determine to use it all opportunities to have the effects of interest, the best benefits on itself. Now, what is the Russian cards to use it? First of all, in Libya, Russia is there because they have economic benefits. Why? Because Russia wants to use its companies in order to, I will say, pressure on EU through its companies' sales to the Libyan gas or the oil to Europe, which they require for. So, for Russia, being in Mediterranean Sea at this moment is a need of economic urge, but for Turkey it is a security urge. So for Libya, there might be a room to accommodate an agreement between Russia and Turkey in the long run, but in the short run, the relations will be deterred. But in Black Sea, it's definitely both countries' security issues. Now, of course, this new channel is going to enable Turkey to gain more benefits in economic terms, because nobody has to use this new channel because of the Montreux Convention rules, because it's forever, as long as the world exists. But using the new channel will give the logistics average or leverage to companies, because time in the transportation means everything. Your pending time, awaiting time for the queue to enter the Bosporus is going to be enormously reduced with this new channel, because you will just go and use it directly, which means a fast service and a fast delivery, which means money and economics. Of course, but you cannot, as Turkey even, cannot oblige the companies or the states to use the new channel. But it doesn't necessarily mean that Russia hasn't raised the eyebrow, because it is a security really issue. Moreover, we see Turkey has an interest in Libya, Syria, Iraq. Why? Because in all three common is what we have said in the previous programs: oil and energy. Now, we will not be surprised if Turkey is going to send its seismic survey ships to Black Sea, which already in 2017 and 2018 they have done it, average or area between Romania and Turkey in the Black Sea, and Sinop between Russia and Turkey, or Ukraine and Turkey, where Turkey thinks that there might be some reserves. If these areas can be verified with the gas reserves, with some quite amounts, that will also have some national security issues between Russia and Turkey. Why? Because the first one, Turkey is dependent to Russia with the oil and gas reserves. We are buying almost 30 billion US dollars with a bill annually, oil and gas from Russia. It's a huge bill. The Turkey's total bill is around 50 billion, but this bill only accumulates for around, I will say, 30 billion only from Russia. It's a huge bill. Turkey is dependent to Russia in that regard, and finding or accessing the cheap energy either in Mediterranean Sea and or in Black Sea is going to enormously reduce this bill, which means that the Russian and the Turkish relations will need to be remodified. The base is gone. The energy is going to be out of the equation. There will be a new equation. So that's why we strongly believe that by starting with 2020, the relations between Turkey and Russia is going to deter in that regard. And also, not because only Libya, but in general it will be happening. Turkey is also interested in Caspian area, in Kazakhstan, in Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan is also going to increase by time. We believe in 2021 or 2022 we are going to see this even more. And while this is happening, because Russia is seeing these areas as a backyard, those also will have an effect on the deterioration of the relations, and we will see more and more unwelcoming noises from Russia in that regard. So let's see what will happen during 2020, but we strongly believe that, and you should also not to forget that the Russian and Turkish relations will change, because, and if that happens, what is that? If the oil and the gas reserves will be found by Turkey, a new relation should be set between Turkey and Russia. That's why we strongly believe that this is now going to happen either in 2021, and the relations in that regard is going to change. The Libyan effect, including the new Istanbul channel, is only a new development in that regard, but the main issue is always the energy at that moment. That's why we think those is imminent. That now is changing. Russia has already really raised the eyebrow The press secretary is already asking questions. What is the intention of this new Istanbul channel? They want to know about this, and I'm sure Russia is going to increase or enhance its voice once the time of the first construction date is going to be announced. If you like this video, please, there's a like button underneath the screen. Please press on it, and please subscribe to our channel. So whenever we publish a video, you are going to first to watch it. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye.